I have in my hand here, ladies and gentlemen, one of the best earbuds from 2019, the SOUNDCORE Liberty 2 Pro, which was one of the first to flaunt a nose balance armature and dynamic driver combo. Now, in my other hand is this, the Liberty 2 Pro Plus upgraded version. Can you spot the differences? And no, I won't blame you if you can't. Well, believe it or not, guys, SOUNDCORE did make a couple of changes to the new one that ought to put this on your radar if you value music quality and a little bit more customization than before. But let's find out what the Liberty 2 Pro Plus is all about and if this is really dope or no. After these messages, and remember to subscribe and like if you like this video so far. That way. So here we are with the SOUNDCORE Liberty 2 Pro Plus, and this thing runs $129 if you want to snag one of these like right now. The links are down below. But what makes this device unique, just like before, guys, it's its dual driver architecture right here in the earbuds, and I'll delve into more detail in a second. There's Bluetooth 5.0 on board just like before with support for AAC and SBC, but this time around aptX has been dropped in favor of LDAC. So that means we have options now. So if you don't care for FLAC files or if you can't leverage high resolution streaming services, then just buy the old one. And the old one is $99, so that's a discount right there, but you're pretty much getting the same awesome audio and user experience between the two. Now with the new one, expect battery life of 5.5 hours at 65% volume playing LDAC files. But if you switch over to regular mode, you're looking closer at 6.25 hours before you have to juice them up again in the case. Besides LDAC, another new addition this time is transparency mode, but there is no active noise cancellation if that's what you're looking for. IPX4 is still the same right here. And by the way, another standout thing from the first Liberty 2 Pro here is still here, the case slider, and I'm glad it is. This is something that SOUNDCORE has perfected. Same plastic rail though, but there's barely any flex. It's just really well made. It's so smooth. It's so cool. What a nice fidget to play with. In fact, nothing externally has changed in the Plus model, even with the earbuds. The design is the same. The ergo is the same, even the materials are identical. But the biggest visual difference here is really the gold. The only thing that I can spot though is the gold SOUNDCORE logo. They passed one with silver, and that's pretty much it. Charging options are still the same, wireless charging at the bottom and USB-C charging out back covered by this flap here. And it's not, doesn't mean it's water resistant, it's just making it nice and neat. The button here activates your battery levels right here, and the slider opens up to the same cavity, which also shares the same ergonomic issues that I had with the first one, which is every time you take these out, you have to do a 180 flip to put it in your ear, and likewise when you take it out of your ear, you have to do a 180 flip, finger gymnastics to pop it back in. And it's also, you know, still hard to clean because yeah, shiny plastics and all. But yeah, everything is identical. Hey, since we're here, let's do the shake test and see if the magnets are still strong. There's slight wobble, but thumbs up because it stays in place, and 2 thumbs up for the awesome flap. Yes, I love it. And again, just like the case, the earbuds are pretty much identical with its older sibling, as far as I can tell anyway. The only difference right here is the gold logo, just like the case, but everything else is still the same. The side profile reminds me, just like before, the Sony WF-1000XM3. So if you're not a fan of that bulky look right here or the old school Bluetooth headset kind of design, you probably want to look somewhere else. But otherwise, this thing is just as comfortable as before. It stays in place under vigorous activities thanks to its wing tips as well as the ear tips, and they're just as comfortable as before, easy to replace, and also tons of sizes, just like in the first gen. This is so many, it's not even funny. Same button format, there's no touch controls, mics are in the same location. Yeah, it's pretty much the same. One thing I did notice though is it seems like the silicone is more of a dust magnet than before. Every time I put it down, it seems like it attracts way more dust than the older model, so that's maybe something to take note of. Hands down, the SOUNDCORE app is without doubt one of the best in the business, regardless of price. And if you're the kind of person who likes to just customize things to the max, there's plenty of things to tweak here. Or if you're the kind of person who just buys a new earbud and just wants to set a couple of primary settings and just let it be, you know, kind of like fire and forget, you can do that too. And I've talked about this app in the past in detail many times before, so I'm going to link it up above. And what I'm going to talk about today is specific to the Plus for the most part. And again, everything looks the same. I love the colors on these. On this app, it's really easy to find everything. And if you swipe to the left or you tap the equalizer button, you come to the awesome EQ where you have the 7-band EQ that you can play with, or the presets from professional Grammy Award winners and composers or musicians, and also SOUNDCORE's own presets. There's tons of them to choose from. Back at the home screen, let me swipe here and show you this. This is something new. The transparency mode button is right there, and it changes color in the background, easy to spot right there when you change it between normal and transparency. On the top right here in the gear icon, in settings, if you tap sound mode, you can switch between LDAC and the regular audio protocol. Now back to the equalizer right here, you have access now to Hear ID 2.0. And in this case, let me turn this back on. And now you have access to an easier to use graphical interface, as well as with 2.0, there is a tweaked algorithm. It's better than before. And this is a really awesome feature if you have hearing loss or anything and you want to bump up certain frequencies. This is really what it's for. And because the L2P2 pluses have such a huge range and room to grow with, even though if you tweak certain settings higher up, it doesn't mess with other frequency ranges. Alright, we're outside doing the Bluetooth range test, and by the way, how many of you remember Maxi Priest is Close to You? I think this was like from the 80s, late 80s, early 90s, and this was one of my favorite jams back in the day. You should definitely check it out. Yeah, I just started listening to it again, and it's super darn awesome. But anyways, we're gonna test these. Here's the phone right there. I'm gonna keep walking, and how this test works is I'm gonna walk from the back of my house towards the side, past line of sight, and we'll see when these things start disconnecting or having connection issues. So the phone is over there, and where I'm standing, right here at the corner of the house, is about 25 feet, and I'm gonna walk this way. And usually devices like the L2P Plus has Bluetooth 5.0 will last around 30 to 33 feet before we start hearing connection issues. And it's still going strong actually, so it's slightly beyond specs. And I'm gonna keep walking. Oh, there you go. So we're around at 36, 37 feet, so that's not bad at all. I'm gonna walk this way some more and see when these things completely disconnect, just for kicks. No big deal for most of us, but just for fun. How you guys doing? Thank you for watching this. It's a really nice day to be out. It's dark, cloudy, and a little bit drizzly. And fall is at hand, guys. Look at all the leaves on the lawn. Cool weather is here, but I'm not looking forward to cleaning all that up. Just got a disconnection. It's around, oh man, 56, 57 feet, so that's nice and strong. You can see the fit of these L2P pluses on my ears. They're kind of like the Sony WF-1000XM3s in profile like this, so some of you may or may not like this kind of bulky look, but they are very secure. I can shake my head, I can jump around like this, and look, they just stay put. I didn't feel them wanting to pop out at all, so that's pretty darn solid. I'm back in range. I just got the tone. Music doesn't continue, so that's pretty normal. I just had to press play one time on a button and they're done. I'm kind of curious how these things perform with the mic test, so we're gonna go down to the street right here and how they compare with the first gen. I'm kind of curious about this one. All right, we're heading down to the main road right now to get some sound samples to see how these things do with a noise suppression. But right off the bat, you can hear that these things lack bass in my overall tonality. But as cars pass by, you can hear in a second, well, it's supposed to be busy right now. How's that lady running through right there? How do you like that blurriness? I'm on my new Leica lens right here. Is she all blurry? Yes, very nice. But anyways, yeah, these things like bass, and I'll tell you what, earlier when I tested these, in terms of noise suppression, they're pretty good on the flip side. But there's a key to this. By knocking out, I think, all the low frequency noises like my bass and my voice, and also tire hums and all that, they do a pretty good job with noise suppression. I think that's how they wrote out or figured out the algorithm. So I hope SOUNDCORE improves in the next generation sound quality. But look at that. Sound suppression is pretty darn impressive. I love it. So yeah, anyways, let's check out the OG, in fact, because I realized when I did the review on that one, I didn't do the Bluetooth mic test. So let's do that just for comparison so you can have a better idea, because I love you guys, and yeah, that's what I do. So I've switched over to the original version, and you can hear right off the bat that my voice clips very easily. The mics just cannot handle it. I'm speaking at the same volume that I did with the new version, and it just gives up the ghost more easily than the new one. And also noise suppression, as you've heard previously, yeah, they're not too hot as well. So thank goodness SOUNDCORE did some good right here. Dude, is it just me or am I really brown on camera today? I'm not sure. Well, that's what I get for being a really tan Asian in summertime. It just gets worse and worse as time goes on. I can't wait for fall and winter. But let's talk sound quality, and how can I eloquently say this? These earbuds are freaking awesome, I'll tell you what. In LDAC mode, especially the 11mm drivers, they pump out stronger, more controlled bass than ever before. It's really tight. While the nose balance armature, they bring sparkle to the treble without being too bright and exhausting. It's really nice and light and lithe. Compared to the SOUNDPEATS H1, the link is up here. It has the same setup but with smaller 8mm drivers. The L2P Plus, it sounds warmer, wider with more head-feeling bass. Now, when I compare this with the OG model though, I can say that the Plus has a softer amplification. It's like 1/5 softer in volume. Now, that's just sound quality in general. I want to say something about HearID 2.0 in terms of sound quality, and I want to give credit to SOUNDCORE for this because the algorithm that they use, if you have any kind of hearing loss in any parts of the frequency range, HearID really allows the earbud in this case to really sing. In the Liberty 2 Pro Plus, it has so much headroom, it allows you to tweak things and allows you to hear things that you didn't hear before. I have some hearing loss a little bit in the highest frequencies, and when I use HearID to customize it, I start hearing stuff that I don't normally hear. So I want to give credit to that. And if you buy these earbuds and you say, oh, the sound quality sucks, use HearID and you may be surprised. You've heard me say this before, guys, but I love physical controls. They're awesome, and in this case, made all the more awesomer when they're mounted where they are on the top edge of these earbuds. None of that tapping something deeper into my ear nonsense. So if you look at this from a strictly audio and musicality quality perspective, the SOUNDCORE is a cheaper, properly cracking alternative to the Sony XM3. And sure, there's crucially no active noise cancellation here, but at the same time, Sony wishes it could have an app experience like the SOUNDCORE's. It's really quite a big difference. And did I already mention that the L2P Plus is quite a lot cheaper? Now, before we jump into the negatives, I want to talk real quick about transparency mode and how it works on this thing. It's neither positive or negative, but I know some of you care how transparency mode sounds like, so here are my impressions. It almost sounds like a more hollow version of real life. It's kind of like a recording made of regular sounds in the real world played through a speakerphone. So if you prefer transparency modes that accentuate voices and such, then this will feel kind of weak to you. And really how SOUNDCORE is done here, it's more akin to like a full-on ambient mode where you hear more of everything rather than just focused on voices and such. Alright, now for the negatives. And earlier I mentioned that this is cheaper than the Sony XM3. But that doesn't mean it's a good thing either, because $129 is still a little bit too pricey for what you get. I would have said $90, $100 retail would have been the sweet spot. Another thing some of you probably can ignore too would be the bulkiness of the case and the earbuds. They're kind of behind the times a little bit. Earbud design, if you've noticed recently, are trending towards like either looking like gumball shapes or whatever Apple is doing next with their new batch of stuff coming out soon. Now, battery life could also be a little bit stronger considering the bulk of the unit and advancements in battery cell capacity. So another hour or hour and a half would have been awesome to see. The last bit that I have is not really a negative, it's more like an observation. And I think SOUNDCORE should have taken a lesson from their own playbook and given us more color options here, kind of like the Live P3 and some of their more recent models. Or maybe they're saving up all their developmental costs to R&D the Liberty 3 Pro, maybe? Oh yes, I hope that's the case. So here are my final thoughts. If you're considering something purely made just for listening pleasure with tons of customization abilities, you can't go wrong with the Liberty 2 Pro Plus or even the regular non-LDAC model for that matter, because these two devices, they bring high-end sound quality to the masses with a good balance of features. That is, if you can live without mod cons like active noise cancellation or wear detection or multipoint. And I can see why this upgraded version wasn't marketed much, if at all, by SOUNDCORE, because LDAC, while it adds some value, a lot of consumers don't really care about it. The way I see it, it's kind of like the usefulness of 5G to most of us today. Plus, I also think SOUNDCORE is buying time to focus on the Liberty 3 Pro that's coming later this year, and I have it on good authority that it will be awesome and loaded. Now, if you have a slightly tighter budget, I suggest either waiting for this to go on sale, because it does happen pretty frequently with this brand, or you can hit up either the regular model that runs $99 or the SOUNDPEATS H1 that runs $80 and has the same ammo as the L2P Plus. So with all that said, I want to give the SOUNDCORE Liberty 2 Pro Plus a GearUP score of 8.4 out of 10. And this is how I broke it down to get to the final score. If you have any questions about it, feel free to comment down below. I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, smack the subscribe button down below right now if you enjoyed this video, because according to the stats, and get this, some 94% of you viewers who've watched my videos haven't yet subscribed. That just blows my mind. And you know what that means? 94% of you are like freeloaders. So click it right now if you haven't already, so I can keep making videos like this. And if you have, thank you very much, guys, and keep telling your friends and family and postal worker about GearUp and this crazy Asian guy behind it. And by the way, you can also find me on Patreon, on Insta, on TikTok, Facebook, and all those places. I'll be happy to hang out with you there. Remember to thumbs up if you like this video and comment nicely down below. And remember to do something kind and loving for somebody in this world, because the world needs it more than ever, and it starts with you. God bless, peace out. Until the next time, guys.